Hey everyone, thanks for clicking on my video. This is Rocky and this review will be for episode 9 of The Flash, which is the mid-season finale. There were a lot of really great things in this episode, so I'm going to kind of just talk about some of the top things that I enjoyed. It was nice seeing Amanda Pays basically replaying her role of Tina McGee from the Flash series back in the 90s. Though in this, she's a little bit different. In that series, she was actually part of Star Labs. In this, she was actually the head of Mercury Labs, which is kind of set up as Star Labs' rival. But it's just nice seeing her back on the show. It's nice seeing when they bring old characters from a previous show onto the new one. It's just, kind of a sign of respect. So hopefully we'll see some more episodes with her in it. She's definitely not the nice, sweet Tina that we had in that series. So she's got a little bit more bite to her. Probably has something to do with her relationship with Wells and what they may have had happen in the past. So basically in this episode we have kind of two stories kind of going on. On one hand we have where Caitlin actually sees Ronnie. He's kind of sneaks up onto her in a garage as she's buying a gift for Dr. Wells. And it, throws her off naturally because she's been under the impression that he's dead. And she tries to talk to him and it doesn't seem like he recognizes her completely. And, then he, of course, bursts into flame. Special effects were great, just like the last time they showed him. But this prompts her to, go to Iris and find out some more information about this Burning Man that she's been reporting in her blogs. And Iris is going to send her some information, but then she goes to Cisco asking for his help. And of course they don't let anyone else know about this. And, they track Ronnie down again. And of course he's telling him, stay away, don't come find me. And he actually calls himself Firestorm. And the reason he's having so many issues kind of remembering her, aside from the fact that, his whole body was probably completely, destroyed down to the molecular level. Sorry. But it's the fact that when he came back in the comics, the Firestorm actually shares a mind with a scientist by the name of Professor Martin Stein. So what we're probably seeing here is that Ronnie is essentially the body of Firestorm. But right now, Martin Stein is the dominant personality in the mind. Ronnie's still in there, which is why he initially kind of recognizes Caitlin and, seeking her out initially. But, he's not 100% Ronnie. And, of course, he shows up at the end again as well and then, flies off in, miraculous fashion. So we'll get a lot more of his story, I think, in the second half, definitely, and find exactly for sure if they're completely merging Ronnie and Martin Stein, or if there's going to be some other way that they're going to do it. It also appears they did cast an actor to play the Mikhail Arcadin role, which is actually a third person that actually gets thrown in this mix of the Firestorm Matrix. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of big things with Ronnie and Firestorm in the second half of the season. And definitely continuing on. So by the end of the season, I imagine he'll probably be full-on member of Star Labs, or at least helping out Barry quite a bit, especially with the man in the yellow suit that we got in this. And we get a little, we get a lot of emotion in this episode, of course, as Barry finally realizes that he has to stop lying to Iris, because he's basically been thrown his whole life into finding this man in the yellow suit and ignoring everything else. It takes his father basically to kind of remind him of this and not to let this man in the yellow suit take anything more from him. The scenes with Barry and his dad were just, anytime those two actors are together, it's just, they feel so natural with their relationship. And then, when they start tearing up, it's hard not to tear up myself because it's very heavy emotion coming across on the screen. Likewise, when Barry's talking with Iris and he finally admits to her that, he loves her. in the real love kind of way, and that he's loved her since he was a kid and didn't even know what love was. Kind of harkening back to what Joe said in a previous episode when he had seen that Barry had loved Iris, but Barry was always too hesitant to let her know because he didn't want to potentially lose her because he's lost so much in his life. So Barry just kind of went through the ringer this episode, both physically and mentally, and by the end it looks like he came out somewhat on top, or at least he's a bit stronger in his purpose. Of course, Iris is still moving in with Eddie, and there's still the matter of the Flash task force going on, but I think maybe Eddie's going to kind of be a little bit more on the Flash's side, but I don't know. I mean, there's definitely, they're setting up some conflict in their relationship, and I think that's kind of going to lead into what I want to talk about next, which is the big thing of the episode is, of course, the man in the yellow suit. Barry actually sees him. He finds out from Joe that, he had visited him and he's been there for a couple weeks. And this man in the yellow suit broke into Mercury Labs to steal some equipment that deals with tachyons. And, everyone's trying to figure out why he needs that. And Wells makes the offhand comment that, basically the power would allow someone to move faster than light, essentially. But, he's after this item, and then he actually visits Barry at, across the way from the police station on top of the building. And, Barry instantly goes off running after him. And, they talk, and this reverse Flash, or man in the yellow suit, is constantly vibrating his body as well as not just his face. So it's, Barry can't make out who it is, but he strongly implies that they've known each other for a long time and they've been doing this for a long time. Kind of hinting at, some time paradoxes that are probably going on. So, our friends at Star Labs do create a trap to try and capture this man in the yellow suit by using the tachyon equipment as bait. And, it initially looks like it's going to work, but he's able to somehow overpower the force field that they created. And he runs out real quick, grabs in Wells, starts pummeling Wells pretty bad. I gotta say I really enjoyed the special effects in this episode. The reverse Flash fights with Flash were just done very amazing. I mean, they're very crisp. I mean, you can tell it's CG, of course, but I mean there wasn't a lot of the kind of blurred edges and things like that we see a lot of times CG. This seemed that they took a little bit more time with it, and got things down pretty clear, pretty solid. So they definitely wanted to leave that impact with this being the mid-season finale. But of course, the man in the yellow suit escapes, takes out a bunch of the police officers, goes face to face with Eddie, but does not take him out. But he does go after Joe, and it looks like he's about to kill Joe when Barry shows up, of course. So then we have the red and yellow streaks fighting. And, at this point is when Firestorm comes back in the mix as well. And, helps Barry out and saves him. But, Barry just realizes, he's completely outclassed by this man in the yellow suit, this reverse Flash. And, he has to, this is just going back to what's been going on the entire season, is Barry's constantly having to push himself to go faster, farther, use his powers better. Things like that. Things that Wells has been drilling into him. You need to go faster. You need to push. So this is just that extra thing that's going to get him to push himself further in the second half of the season. So we're left with that. And then we get the scene, the post-show scene showing, Dr. Wells in his mysterious room. And he actually has a Flash ring. Which is kind of a nod back to the comics, is Flash actually had his costume in the ring and would eject the costume out so he could wear it, and then there was some type of gas within there that would shrink it back up and hide it in the ring. And then he uses that, and we see, a suit. Initially, the suit looks black, which kind of had me gasping a little bit because I was like, oh crap, it's the Black Flash. They're going to try and play off that. Of course, then the lights switch on and we realize it's another It's a Reverse Flash costume, and he attaches the tachyon equipment to it, and it seems to be powering the suit now. And then, of course, he, has his mysterious voice just like the Reverse Flash, saying, Merry Christmas. And so this leads me into discussion of who is the man in the yellow suit. So what I'm thinking is happening, and this is just based off my opinion and some things I've read online with some other people's guesses, I get the feeling we are dealing with two different Reverse Flashes within the Flash show right now, and they seem to be working together. And it seems that they're kind of mixing and matching information for both the Professor Zoom Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, and the Hunter Zolomon Zoom character. Both are Reverse Flashes in the comics. But there's different things about them. Like Eobard Thawne was actually from the future and was, essentially obsessed with the Flash and wanting to be the Flash. So he actually recreates an experiment which gives him the powers. He ends up losing them in the comics, and then, finds a way to basically power his suit to mimic the Flash's ability. So I think that's what we're seeing here. He's using this tachyon machine to empower his suit so that Dr. Wells will be able to run like the Flash. And, he has that ring, so, there's that obsession there. Then we have Eddie. And honestly, I think the other Reverse Flash is Eddie from the future. Reason being is they've been setting up this conflict between Eddie and Barry this whole time. Especially these last few episodes, just building, that Eddie wants to take out the Flash and, everything like that. And with the Flash, when he was under the influence of the Rainbow Raider, he, went after Eddie. So I think they're building up that conflict. And now with Barry actually admitting that he loves Iris, more than likely Iris is going to eventually leave Eddie for Barry, thus creating more conflict. And then at some point, whether Eddie actually taps into this mysterious, negative speed force, or if he somehow gains the ability to basically manipulate time, which is kind of what Hunter Zolomon does. As opposed to actually tapping into the speed force to run super fast, he just manipulates time around him to make it look like he's running fast. We don't know enough at this point to say how, the Reverse Flash's powers actually are being done, but that's what I think we're dealing with. We're dealing with two different Reverse Flashes, and they're working together. Basically, one of them, Dr. Wells, his mission is to protect Barry, to make Barry push himself further by experiencing all this kind of great loss. So it's possible he may have sent the other Reverse Flash. Sorry, it's going to get like this on the Flash because there's all kinds of multiple realities and universes and time streams and everything that are going to get involved. But I think he and this other Flash are working together, and he set the other Reverse Flash to kill Barry's mom. From the future, of course. So that prompted Barry to leave the future and come back to the past. So that's why we have the yellow and red streaks that Cisco talks about with Joe towards the end, where there were two different speedsters that night. So I know this is a little bit confusing, but like I said, this is kind of what we're going to get with the Flash. Is eventually they're going to have to deal with these multiple timelines and things like that are going to pop up, and paradoxes, and possibly something as heavy as the Flashpoint paradox and everything like that in the comics. So my theory is we're dealing with two Reverse Flashes, Dr. Wells being one and future Eddie being the other one. That's my theory. There's a lot of other theories out there, some of them being that the Reverse Flash is actually Barry from the future, being somehow manipulated similar to what the Rainbow Raider could do, but on a more permanent scale. There's other theories that, the Reverse Flash is actually Wally West, who becomes one of the Flashes later on. So there's a lot of different theories right now. We don't know enough right now to exactly say what's going on, or at least I don't feel like we know enough right now. But like I said, my theory is that we're dealing with future Eddie as the Reverse Flash that we've been seeing doing everything. And then we have Dr. Wells, who will become the other Reverse Flash once his suit is powered up. So that's my theory on it as far as who the man in the yellow suit was. This was a great mid-season finale. There was a lot of action, great special effects. We pretty much got advancement with almost every character. Plus, like I said, we had, Amanda Pays come back as, Tina McGee for a nice little cameo. So, very enjoyable episode. A lot of emotion. Lots of emotion. I mean, I teared up more than once during this. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. So, you don't be ashamed either, all right? So, as far as what I think about as far as a rating for this season so far, I definitely give The Flash an A rating. It's from the pilot episode on, it's just been getting better and better. There's a few things here and there that were kind of missing, that kind of just felt off a little bit, but all in all, this has been a great show so far. And the reason I haven't been giving like any type of, review rating for each episode is just due to the fact that with each episode, we don't always see like a completion of an arc. We see like maybe a beginning of an arc, and then an episode or two later, we see the end of it or things like that. So I like to just wait for that mid-season break, because usually by that point we get kind of at least a completion of some arcs and then beginning of a new one. So that's why I kind of waited to this point to give any type of rating. So yeah, like I said, an A rating. I hope you guys are enjoying The Flash. I am loving the heck out of this show and really, really looking forward to the second half of the season. Looks like The Flash is going to be coming back around January 20th, so I'll pick up my reviews at that point. But I'm going to put together some, bonus videos and things like that as well. So if you guys have any suggestions on things you'd like to see in a bonus video, go and put those down in the comments and definitely let me know what you thought about this episode and how you feel about The Flash so far this season. And if you've enjoyed my video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up and share the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It's like I said, I will be picking up with this show once it comes back. And I am doing weekly reviews of the other Marvel and DC television shows going on right now, any that may get picked up in the future. And if you have gone ahead and subscribed to my channel, thank you very much. I really appreciate having you on board, and look forward to having some conversations with you guys either down in the comments or, reach out to me on Twitter if you'd like. If any questions or anything you guys like to talk about, definitely want to have some conversations with you. So all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day now. Bye.